Hey, good evening. I'm Dr. Robin Scott. Welcome back. We're going to jump right into it tonight. I'm going to say hi to TikTok as well. Let's see. Okay, and we're live on TikTok and live on YouTube. Send out some notifications. Okay. All right, so here we are live. So we're going to continue our sleep A to Z hacks. These are sleep hacks that you could begin implementing immediately to get really, really great night's sleep. So we're going to go ahead, pop into that. And once again, I'm Dr. Robin Scott. I'm a clinical pharmacist and sleep health coach, and I help people to get the most amazing sleep. So if you're dealing with insomnia, or if you're dealing with issues of going to sleep and not being able to stay asleep, if you're waking up more exhausted than when you went to bed the night before, you are in the right place. So today we're actually going to talk about different foods you can get to help you to get great, great sleep. So we're going to look at, first of all, foods that can actually contain melatonin or help support melatonin production. We all know that melatonin is one of our major hormones that helps us to get a good night's sleep every night. So we definitely want to look at the melatonin to see what different foods actually contain melatonin, the amounts of melatonin in these foods. Now, a lot of people say, well, can't I just take, a regular melatonin supplement? There are some side effects and some issues with taking that. And a lot of people want to avoid it. One of them, and we talked about this when we talked about dreams the other night, it can give you overly vivid dreams, to the fact where they're almost nightmares and you wake up and can't get back to sleep. So that really defeats the purpose of actually, using the melatonin. So you want to be able to get melatonin the best way you can get that foods that will support production. So one of the first food, but it's a big variety of cherries. There's at least 30 tart cherry alcohol helps them to sleep, and that is actually grapes. So mostly not usually the whiter grapes or the green grapes, but the red grapes and the black variety of grapes have high amounts of melatonin in them. They also contain really good antioxidants to protect your brain function while you sleep at night. They're rich in beta carotene, which will actually benefit your pineal gland, which is also another gland that helps you to get really, really great rest at nighttime. So you want to use these, and particularly in the skin. So you don't want to. I don't know most people that peel off skin of grapes. So you want to keep the skin off. I'm going to always encourage you as much as possible, depending on what's available, and sometimes it could be a price issue, is to use organic fruits and vegetables when you are choosing what you're going to eat. Many of our things that they're using, like the pesticides, basically, the pesticides could definitely have a negative effect on our body. They've been shown in studies to really have a negative effect on us from head to toe, and they can help really actually impact your sleep and make it so that you have difficulty going to sleep at night. So that melatonin is something that you definitely want to look at too with going for your grapes. Now, grapes can actually be added to a smoothie. It's really delicious to add grapes to a smoothie. Sometimes I like to freeze the grapes, especially it's been so hot lately. So you can have some delicious grapes at night mixed in with your cherries, and throw in a banana. We'll talk about banana next. It also has really good melatonin and tryptophan too. So we'll go ahead. So we talked about tart cherries or something you want to add to your diet. Regular cherries are very effective as well to help you to get really good sleep at night. So tart cherries, the regular cherries. We also talked about grapes. This is the reason why people like a glass of wine before they go to bed. when they see that glass of wine, they think they can instantly fall asleep. Wine is a natural sedative because most wines, they're made from grapes. Especially we're looking at our black grapes and the red grapes type that we're looking at. So these particular wines can help you go to sleep, but they will actually interrupt your sleep architecture. They've looked at various studies. So your REM, we're going into stage one, stage two, your various phases of sleep can be affected. So you definitely want to be careful when you're going for these in the evening time. Some of the next things we wanted to talk about was adding bananas. So bananas are a quick, easy food you can add in the evening. Once again, when we're doing our timing for these foods, if you know you want to go to bed around 10, about 9-ish, 9:15, even 9:30 is a good time to actually eat melatonin-rich foods for a great night's sleep. So bananas, not only do they contain melatonin, we'll talk about some more foods that contain an ingredient called tryptophan. And tryptophan is actually leads to melatonin. I believe it's broken down into serotonin, and then that's broken down into melatonin into your body. So bananas kind of give a good double whammy of that tryptophan. They also, with the magnesium, helps your muscles to relax. It's hard to get a good night's sleep if your muscles are tense or tight. So getting really magnesium rich foods in your diet is a really great idea, such as the bananas. They help to relax your muscles, your nerves, and therefore they do promote better sleep. Again, you want to eat them as a part of your wind down snack. Now, your big meal, we've mentioned this already before, you want to have that at least 3 hours before you go to bed. But it's okay to have a small snack closer to bedtime, especially something that's full of melatonin to give you a great night's sleep. So we talked about tart cherries, grapes. Let's look at some other fruits and vegetables. Strawberries contain small amounts of melatonin as well. And they're also high in vitamin C. So this is another good fruit that could definitely assist you in getting a good night's sleep. When you're asleep at night is when your body does a lot of repair. So your immune system is repairing, it's repairing nerves. Getting that extra vitamin C in some of these fruits that we're talking about that also have melatonin is a really good way for you to get a good night's sleep. So we looked at strawberries. They help also support natural collagen, which will actually help you for more relaxation too. We talked about bananas. Let's talk about another vitamin C rich food, oranges. Now, oranges are not a direct source of melatonin, but they contain compounds that will actually increase your natural melatonin levels within your body. So, of course, they're high in vitamin C, which will definitely help you to fight off infections. We just started August now, but pretty soon cough and cold season will be here. So not only will oranges help to support melatonin production in the body, the extra vitamin C that you get in oranges will help to really fight off a lot of issues that are coming up very much around the corner during this season. Real soon, we got school starting back, kids coughing and sneezing. Getting an evening orange in is a great, sweet, nice snack that will also support your sleep. One of the other fruits we want to look at is pineapple. And I was really shocked when I did research on this. I know I find pineapple relaxing and just, really a fruity, juicy fruit. It gives that good hydration that we also need. And it stimulates an increase in your serum melatonin. And this was actually shown in clinical studies that pineapple is an effective food to use in various items to help you to get good sleep. So pineapple. Pomegranates are also good. You can get that Palm Wonderful juice at the store to help you get great sleep. So those are some of our major fruits I wanted to go into. Some other fruits that have good melatonin, that they're smaller amounts, but also serve as a good snack for a bedtime snack before bed. And that is, we'll talk about apples. They contain small amounts of melatonin in their skin, very much kind of like the grapes that also have a lot of melatonin in the skin. You want to always remember, as much as possible, to choose organic fruits and vegetables that don't have all the pesticides in them. The pesticides could definitely be hampering your sleep. There's so much going on in our world right now that we want to try and eat as clean, as pure as possible. Sometimes I understand it's just not possible. You're traveling, you can only get, what you can get. But when possible, definitely go for the organic fruits. Some farmers markets don't even necessarily have organic fruits and vegetables, or necessarily certified, but they are growing them in an organic way. You can usually talk to them. It's really expensive to really have organic fruits as a farmer. So some of them just simply can't afford that particular certification, even though they are growing them organically. So you definitely do a little bit of research, go to various farmers markets, talk to them. A lot of times they'll let you visit the farm, even go apple picking. We're almost on apple picking season, which will be a lot of fun. So that'll be coming up soon here. One of the next fruits I like to add for an evening smoothie. So if I have some cherries, some bananas, and I like to add blueberries. They just give that nice sweetness. Once again, should be organic. They give a really, really nice sweetness to your smoothies. And they're low in melatonin, but they are rich in other particular antioxidants that actually support sleep. So blueberries are a great, great way. They actually help to reduce inflammation, which is really important if you deal with any type of issues with pain. Getting that inflammation down before you go to bed is an excellent, excellent way to get great, great sleep at night. A couple of more fruits. I know a lot of people, we sometimes think avocado because we put it a lot in our salads or something. We think avocado could be a veggie sometimes, but it's technically a fruit because it has that big seed inside. So we know all of those veggies veggies don't really have that seed. So if they have that seed inside, they are actually a fruit. Once again, you want to get organic, and they're really high in magnesium and B6. And both of these two particular nutrients, the magnesium and B6, are actually needed for our bodies to make melatonin. So that's something that's super, super important that you definitely want to add for that. So I'm trying to think if there's any other fruits I wanted to do. So I'm going to do a quick recap on what to eat to go to sleep. And we were looking at various fruits. We talked about tart cherries, and regular cherries are a really good idea. Grapes are a great idea as well. Strawberries are good. I don't think we mentioned kiwi. Although kiwi is not high in melatonin, it boosts serotonin, which can actually contribute to the melatonin synthesis with inside your body. So that's something really, really good to know. We talked about bananas, and bananas tend to be a foundation of a lot of our smoothies. So that's a really good idea. They contain magnesium, potassium, even tryptophan. So they're like a triple threat to really help us get great, great sleep. Pineapples, oranges, pomegranates we looked at. Apples have small amounts of melatonin to help us sleep. Blueberries, avocados, and the final one we didn't talk about, we'll talk about briefly, is plums. Adding plums to help you to get a great, great night's sleep. They contain melatonin, and there's even some that contain high amounts of fiber in them. So those are our fruits. Let's look at another ingredient. We always hear about melatonin on a constant basis, but what about another major ingredient that helps us to get to sleep? That would be tryptophan. So make sure and let me know if you have any questions. I know TikTok always has any questions. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions for that. Okay. Okay, so one of the questions on TikTok was, you mentioned a lot of different fruits. Are there veggies There aren't as many vegetables that have melatonin. Now, one of the things I didn't mention, there is a nut that's very, very high in melatonin, and that's pistachios. So, getting pistachios, adding those to your diet before bed, you're going to get some extra protein because this is a nut, and then you're going to get the melatonin that's in the pistachios as well. So, that's a really good question. Okay, let's see. Okay, thank you, TikTok, for that question. Okay. Okay, that's another good question. I thought someone says, Shirley says, I thought I was not supposed to eat right before bed. That's a really good question. So I just want to reiterate, your big meal before bed should be about 3 hours before you go to bed. So you shouldn't be eating a big meal and trying to go straight to sleep. You're going to find that your body's going to spend all that time trying to break down the food, digest, and you're going to have a hard time going to sleep and staying asleep. So that's a really good question. What we're talking about here is a small fruit snack, not a large fruit snack, just a small fruit snack before bedtime. So that's a really good question. Thank you. Okay, so we'll talk about looking at our evening meals when we can really get in more food in during the evening, especially for our dinner. So we're going to look at really an ingredient called tryptophan. This is a sleep boosting amino acid that leads to more actual melatonin production. So in our bodies to help us get a good night's sleep. I know we talked about earlier in the week, we've all experienced eating a big turkey dinner for Thanksgiving and just yawning afterwards, not being very productive afterwards, just feeling like that we want to rest. Turkey is high, high, high in tryptophan. So that's something major you want to keep for your dinner. So we're going to kind of look at what you should be eating like those 3 hours or so before that you're, getting ready for bed. Chicken is also another one, especially chicken breast. It contains tryptophan. Eggs contain tryptophan, salmon, and beef. And even one of the things we've always heard at some time was to, having a warm cup of milk in the evening. So if you don't have any issues with milk allergies or lactose intolerance, that can be also another alternative. And it contains melatonin as well. So some of the tryptophan foods, again, these are the sleep boosting amino acid foods. So we talked about chicken breasts especially contain that. Turkey, salmon has that in that. Eggs have it, beef have that, and also we see that in our milk products as well. So getting those tryptophan in, and these are pretty easy things that we can find available. Once again, we want to try and find as much as possible. When we're picking beef, grass-fed beef, grass-finished beef, even bison. That's become a new popular meat to have at times. That also contains good amounts of tryptophan as well. Eating, turkey and chicken that's had a chance to have free roam and free ranging of these particular animals. So that really will affect our diet, the quality of the animals to begin with, in addition to getting the tryptophan from those. So if you're saying, well, I'm a vegan, how can I get various tryptophan? So there's some actual excellent ones. One of them is oats. A lot of people eat oatmeal first thing in the morning, but I have found for myself and my clients, that's a great nighttime snack to have because oatmeal is high in tryptophan and it helps you to get a great night's sleep. So if you're finding that you're yawning after your morning oatmeal, say 8 o'clock in the morning, try switching oatmeal if that's one of the things you enjoy eating. Try switching that to the evening time as a small bedtime snack. Add a little banana in there, a touch of honey. Honey has tryptophan and melatonin as well and can lead to more production. So a touch of honey, banana, that has the magnesium, tryptophan, and melatonin. Those items can actually help you to get great sleep at night. So those are some things that you definitely want to do. So, okay. Some of the other things there's others nuts. So there are almonds, cashews, chickpeas, pumpkin seeds, and there's also, if you're a vegan, tofu and tempeh will also contain the tryptophan for you to be more relaxed and have a good night's sleep. So those are our major foods that I wanted to go over tonight. Just a quick recap. We talked about our fruits that help you to get great sleep. So the tart cherries, the grapes, the kiwis, strawberry, apples, bananas, pineapple, pomegranate, blueberries, and also plums and avocado. I think that was one of the other ones. We always think of that as a veggie, but that really is a fruit because you have that big seed in the middle. Finally, we looked at definitely making sure you have that big meal about 3 hours before. You have that cutoff time is so important so that the digestion occurs during that time. And so that's about it for our foods. Let me see if there's any other questions. Let's see. Okay, that's a good question, Rodney. Rodney said, which food should we be avoiding before bed? And that's a really great question. I always tell people to avoid like really spicy foods. Once again, the digestion issue with the spiciness of foods can make it very difficult to go to bed at night. If you know you have a food allergy or food issues, like I have issues with lactose intolerance. I know if I eat some ice cream or some other things that contain a lot of dairy, it's going to be issues getting to sleep and staying to sleep. So if you have any food issues that you know about, you definitely want to do that. Definitely avoid those during your bedtime. Avoid spicy foods. Avoid foods that can, typically give you gas or have any issues with that during your bedtime. And I'm trying to get this down for TikTok. Okay. So those are some of the things you want to keep in mind. We also talked about the tryptophan foods, and those foods. And if you don't eat meats, because they're found in a lot of meats, they're found in egg yolks, you can get that from a wide variety of nuts, the pumpkin seeds, your almonds, some cashews. And we also talked about pistachios as one of the nuts that has a high amount of melatonin. So once again, if you are a person who would like to stop using melatonin subjects or those particular supplements, or you're saying, I don't know if those supplements are right for me, I believe it's best to get melatonin, natural melatonin, to help you get to sleep, specifically from your food. So great. I'm seeing if there's any other questions. Let me move the screen down. Okay, I got that down. Okay. And Lamont says, can I give you some ideas for a smoothie? Yeah. Actually, I have a free PDF. Go ahead. This particular live will be on, Identical Live will be on YouTube. So you can look in the description there. I actually have a free PDF that actually has the recipes in it. But yeah, like a quick recipe, you might want to use a little filtered reverse osmosis water. Add that, a banana or half a banana. Like, you don't want a big amount of liquids before you go to bed, or else you're going to have to wake up and eliminate the liquid, which will defeat the whole purpose of taking a great melatonin sleep for bed. So you definitely want to use small amounts of liquid, use a half a banana or so, grab a few cherries, put in a few strawberries in there, some blueberries. You have an instant smoothie to help you get to sleep at night. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. So we're going to keep on going here. Our particular topic today, as you can see, was food, the letter F. We're still doing our A to Z sleep hacks, and we're covering the letter F today. So we went over to in a lot of melatonin foods, foods that are high in tryptophan, foods that will help us get to sleep. So some other things for letter F is your feet. Keeping your feet warm before bed. It's really hard to go to sleep with cold feet. So I encourage my clients, I do this myself, is to helping you to really get good sleep. For sleep onset to start, we have to actually have a lower temperature in our home and for our body. So we talked about anywhere from like 63 degrees Fahrenheit to about 73 degrees Fahrenheit. And I find a lot of my clients who do put on socks before they go to bed, they find out that, during the night, those socks may actually come off, which is totally, totally fine. And they don't even know when it happened, when they took them off at night and they just kicked them off. But starting off your bedtime with warm feet is really, really important to help that onset of getting a good night's sleep. So I wanted to talk about that. Next I want to talk about was full body stretching. So we talked about like rolling your neck, doing your arms, doing some stretches and so forth, getting that stretching exercise in. You don't want to do really major heavy exercise before bed because it raises your serotonin level. You want to definitely do some stretching though. Loosening up, stretching, and help relieving some of that tenseness in your body can definitely help relax you for a great, great night's sleep. The next thing you want to look into after you to get some good sleep at night. So that's the next F I wanted to talk about was fragrance therapy. During the daytime, not at night, but during the daytime, there's something called another letter F is forest bathing. Actually going out in nature and walking in. It doesn't have to be a forest. It can be an area that has some trees, nice grass. And this is actually really helps to lower your cortisol, lower your stress level, and improves your nighttime sleep quality. Getting out in nature, even looking at nature is really, really help reduce insomnia. Not just our temples and our chin, but we hold a lot of tension in our shoulders. So this is something that we can do on a nightly basis to really do a self massage to help eradicate a lot of that tension that we've been holding on to all day. It's hard to get to sleep when we are very tense and we've been holding on to tension all day long. So you want to really, really enact where you're doing self-massaging, massaging your temples before bed. A lot of us clench our jaw, making sure that we're massaging this area before bedtime. And this doesn't have to take a long time. This is something that you can do in 2 to 3 minutes before bed. Your body will thank you and your sleep will thank you as well. So one of the next things is really fear processing. There are people who, and some of you may have experienced this yourself or experience it now, where you have actually nighttime anxiety. You've had issues going to sleep and it actually creates like an endless vicious circle. You're kind of scared that you're not going to be able to go to sleep. And that fear means that you can't go to sleep. And then you're still awake because you're going to be fearful. And it's just an endless vicious circle. So fear processing is a really, really good idea. One of the major ways I encourage my clients to do fear processing is to do a journal dump. That's right. All the stuff that's in your brain is called a brain dump too. Dump that into a journal onto a piece of paper. Definitely dump that out, get rid of it so that you are not having issues getting good sleep at night. A lot of those fears that we're encountering, they're fears that we haven't dealt with. And a lot of times we just need to get those out and talk to someone about it. If you can have the chance to actually have a therapist, that's a great, great idea. But fear processing is a major, major way to help you to get good sleep at night. And fear, facing your fear during the day actually reduces its power at night. So facing our fears is a good thing as well. And we don't want anyone doing anything dangerous, crazy when it comes to facing their fears, but definitely taking that time to face those fears in the day. And if they're lingering in the evening, do that brain dump where you're dumping them out onto some paper to really get them out of your body, get them out of your tension. Like I said, a lot of people come to me for stress induced insomnia. And I get it. We have a lot to be stressed about today. We hear issues about wars going on, rumors of wars, the financial markets on a roller coaster. It's just so much going on that I understand and I get why we are stressed. But we all have to do our parts and really looking to eliminate as much as possible. We can't eliminate it 100%, but definitely get that decreased and down on a regular basis. So a next thing we want to look at is different foot reflexology. Now, you don't have to be a foot reflexology specialist. I'm definitely not a foot reflexology specialist, but this is a good way. Just an old-fashioned foot rub is a good way. I'm rubbing my foot now. I bent down to touch it. But that's a good way to get a good night's sleep. Going into the arch part, the different toe parts, doing a foot soak. We talked about that. And one of our favorite ingredients, doing a foot soak in some Epsom salt or any other type of magnesium bath. Doing these can actually, if you don't want to actually do a whole body bath, doing a foot soak is a great way. A warm, hot foot soak before bed can help you to get good sleep at night. So that's something you definitely want to try and look into that. Some of the other F's we wanted to talk about, one of the major ones, at some point I have to do a series on feng shui for sleep. So there's certain things, and feng shui is really the movement of the qi throughout our environment, both our internal environment and our external environment as well. And definitely having good feng shui can help us to get good sleep at night. So some of the things you want to look at for your feng shui at nighttime is your quality of your sheets. Feng Shui really looks at the quality of things, and it looks at the various colors as well. Are you using natural colors as much as possible? Not bright pinks or fuchsias or purples or anything like that. We're looking at, one of the things that my Feng Shui teacher taught me was looking at the shades of the human complexion. So brown shades, tan shades, peach shades, different shades of that complexions. Actually using those as decor in our bedroom help us to get good calming sleep on a regular basis. So we definitely don't want like a bright pink room or a bright red wall or anything of that nature. We want calming definitely elements in our room for feng shui. My feng shui teacher also taught us that, you don't want a lot of live plants in the room because they're actually competing with you for your life force. So you want to do silk plants if you're going to have one. Live plants can be put throughout the other areas of the house, but you definitely don't want to put them in your bedroom when you're sleeping at night. There is belief system where they don't like you to have a mirror directly facing your bed. It is believed that having that mirror can actually shock you into if you're waking up in the middle of the night. It can also represent a lot of different things. They believe a lot of times from a spiritual connotation to remove mirrors from the bedroom, or definitely to never have them facing your bed, which could definitely impact your sleep. So let's see, we talked about feng shui for sleep. I also want to talk about the feather soft bedding. That's another F. How soft is your bedding? It should be really feather soft or as soft as a baby skin to help you get great sleep at night. So that bedding, you want to look into as much as possible, getting, those higher count cottons, just staying away from the polyester is important. Our skin does not breathe as well when we're using a lot of the artificial different fabrics. So you want to use very, very specific fabrics that are natural. So we're talking about like our cotton fabrics, linen, depending on the time of year, silk, depending on how you like having silk, bamboo. These are all natural fibers that are really, really good for sleeping. I can even use F for fibers because now we should be sleeping in similar when we're going to bed in terms of what we're sleeping in for bed. So you have your nice cotton t-shirts, nice cotton jammies, similar fibers as your sheets. So the bamboo, the linens, the silks, those should all be used to help you really get great, great sleep at night and help your skin to breathe. That's important as you're getting your good, good sleep. Flipping your mattress. That's another F I wanted to talk about. A worn out mattress or that uneven surface where you're sleeping always on the same side can definitely cause issues with your sleep. In general, most people get a mattress and keep it for years and don't go out and test other mattresses. As we age and as we get older, we have different requirements for our back support while we sleep. So that's something to really keep in mind. Treat yourself. If you have not been mattress shopping in a long time, definitely go ahead, give that a try and see. You may find that different mattresses will feel really amazing compared to what you have at home. That can be something that could almost instantly solve your sleeping issues, is getting a new mattress that works wonders for your back and your sleep. So we talked about flipping your mattress, feather soft bedding. We're going to talk about next, and this is probably our last F we'll talk about today, is actually focus shifting. So this is an issue where some people who are trying to force themselves to go to sleep. So instead of trying to force yourself to go to sleep, you want to shift your focus to something that's really neutral, like counting. That's why we've always heard people would count sheep. That's something very neutral and easy to do. Counting backwards from 100 down to 1. And you'll find yourself drifting off to sleep. Some other neutral things we talked about earlier in the week is getting like a bored book. A book that you know is boring and that will not alert you, it will not excite you. It's not a horror story or anything like that. A calming book before bed is a great way to calm yourself down. It can be a part of your bedtime routine that will alert you that it's time to get a good, good night's sleep and to get some rest. So I'm going to see if there are any other F's I wanted to talk about. Let's see. One of the F's that we should have mentioned, and I mentioned it briefly when we talked about how salmon has tryptophan, is your fatty acids, specifically your omega-3 fatty acids. So you can see that in your salmon. You can see that in fish oil, walnuts, certain flaxseed oils also help these. And they help to regulate your neurotransmitters. And the neurotransmitters I'm talking about here are your dopamine and your serotonin. They're also really essential for regulating your circadian rhythm, which again is just a fancy word for your internal clock. And this regulates how you wake up in the night and how you go to sleep at night. So definitely making sure you're having really good on a weekly basis, having a piece of salmon, having some fish oil, some walnuts to get that omega-3 fatty acids. Our brain lies in a bed of fatty acids. So it's really, really important that our diets include enough omega-3 fatty acids for good mental health, great emotional health, and to get to sleep at night. So those are some of the things we want to look at. So I'll do a recap of our letter F. Once again, we talked about our foods, our melatonin-rich foods, the tryptophan-rich foods. We just looked at omega-3 fatty acids. We looked at some of our other F hacks to getting good sleep A to Z. So our feet warmth, starting out the night and wearing socks while we go to bed. Our full body stretching. So not just, it's good to have a few neck rolls and so forth before we go to bed, but doing some full body stretches is a great, great way to relax and release that tension before you go to bed, and shake some of that out too before you go to sleep at night. Also looking at fragrance therapy. We have our organic lavender sleep spray made exclusively for Sleepwell RX. And here for you all TikTok. We will have this available very, very soon for sale. We're working on getting everything finalized. I'll give you a little hint that'll help me go to sleep right now. And the lavender is fresh. Sometimes spray a little on the hands. You can do an inhale. Your exhale. Lavender is time tested and proven to help us get a great, great, great night's sleep. So that's something we definitely want to look at. Feet on the wall. I don't think I touched on this one. This is a particular pose in yoga. It's a yoga pose that involves you lying flat on your back and putting your feet and legs against the wall. It promotes lymphatic drainage. So if you have any edema or puffiness anywhere or water retention, it'll help eliminate that. And it actually calms our nervous system and lowers lower body tension. This is something you can even do. I like to do this in the bath. This is something you can even do there. So definitely the feet on the wall yoga pose. When we get to why, we'll go into some other yoga poses. I'll have to take off my lab coat and do a few yoga poses for you all in terms of really looking at specific yoga poses for getting great, great sleep. We also talked about flipping your mattress and even going out shopping and trying out new mattresses. Feng Shui for sleep was another one that was really some really good tips and hints. Feather soft bedding, especially going for our natural fibers in bedding. Forest bathing, where we are getting some mother nature on a regular basis, where we're doing getting our sunshine in, seeing the trees. And it doesn't have to be a deep forest or any forest. A face massage where we release tension in our face and in our jaw. We can hold a lot there. And I always have people get that down to their neck. Do it, the deep neck massage, and also massaging more and more on your shoulders. A lot of us carry the weight of the world, or we think we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. And that's really contributing to a lot of stress-induced insomnia. So you definitely don't want to you can't get good sleep if you're just really tense. Relax some of that tension by doing face massaging and massaging also down into the neck and shoulder area. We talked about foot reflexology. Once again, I'm not a foot reflexologist, but doing great foot rubs in the evening after you do a foot soak is another great way to get rid of that tension so you're not as stressed, so you can get good sleep. We looked at fear processing, fatty acids, and we have one more I wanted to talk about, and then we'll close. The last one I wanted to talk about is a forgiveness practice. I know we go through things every day, and sometimes we can really mull on things before we go to bed at night, get really mad or pissed off about something that happened earlier in the day at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., or mad at a person, in fact. Having that practice, we talked about yesterday, an attitude of gratitude, being thankful, but actually having that forgiveness and releasing and letting some things go. I'm not a person that believes in 100% forgiveness. There's some things I believe hold on to for a little while, but ultimately, the majority of the things we should be releasing and letting go. That attitude of gratitude and that forgiveness at nighttime will actually help to release a lot of tension and help to people. Like I said, most of the people come to me for stress-induced insomnia. So that is something that would be super helpful in these areas. So I want to thank everyone again. This was another fun night. A to Z sleep hacks. We just finished the letter F. Let's see if there's any questions here. Any questions here on okay, I don't see any questions here on YouTube. Let's see any questions here on TikTok. TikTok usually has questions. Hold on, let's see. I missed a question. Okay. I answered that one about the veggies have. Okay, good, good. I think we answered most of our questions already. So if you have any other questions, definitely could send me a message. And I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Sleep well and live well. Take care, and I'll see you next time.